With 3 months to go to the Rugby World Cup, I had an opportunity to sit down today with Springbok captain John de Villiers to catch up on his recovery and how fit he will be in time for that Rugby World Cup. Let's have a listen in. John, thank you for speaking to us here on ANN7. Such a special day celebrating 20 years since that 1995 World Cup win. Where were you at that time, and did that sort of just set the standard or set the scene that you wanted to be a rugby player?
Yeah, I think even before that I wanted to be a rugby player. Since I can remember, that was the only thing I ever wanted to do, even before the game went professional a year after '95. But that day, I will never forget, like so many other South Africans. So special. I watched a game with a friend, and after that we just ran around in the streets of Paarl. People hooting, waving flags, just so much joy and happiness. So a great day, and it's 20 years later, and I was sitting with the same opportunity again to unite the country again, and to just to get a bit of positive messages going out about the country, and get the country just to stand together again and unite toward a common goal.
It's probably the same for every South African team that represents the country. What does it mean to wear that Springbok jersey?
It's so special. If you think about all the people that wore it before you, that makes it really special. And then if you realize that it's, once you put that jersey on, you represent every single South African. A lot of responsibility goes with that, and we certainly carry that with us when we go onto the field.
You've been answering the same question the entire morning, but we saw you on that field, and you looked in so much pain, and I think the entire South Africa was at a standstill to see whether you would recover, and you look recovered, and it was good to see you on the training field again. How difficult was it to come back from that, and did you ever think that maybe I'm not going to recover?
Yeah, look, I would say the first 1 or 2 minutes after the injury, I thought, no ways. No ways I can recover from that. I thought if I would be able to play with my kids one day, that'll be enough. Not knowing if I would be able to do that, but then Johan van Graan, our assistant coach, he came onto the field, and I've known him for quite a while, and I told him I didn't want it to end like this, and he just said, "Don't worry, everything will work out." And immediately my mind frame just changed, and I started thinking about World Cup this year, and how great it could be to be part of that. And now I'm sitting here almost back onto the rugby field. So it's been a lot of hard work, a lot of pain, a lot of sweat, but I've had fantastic people that have helped me with it, and due to them I can sit here today and be close to being back onto the field.
Will we see you on the field anytime soon?
Yeah, I'm hoping to play in July. So next month, hoping to play my first game again. Not confirmed which one yet, but yeah, it's quite an exciting thought to get back onto the field. Quite a daunting thought as well. But yeah, can't wait to get back onto the field.
And obviously that will test on how ready you are for the Rugby World Cup. We sort of have a makeup of a team that will represent South Africa. Can this possibly be a third World Cup win for South Africa?
Yes, most certainly. It'll be a team that will be good enough to win the World Cup, and there's a lot of desire within this team. I'm very positive that it'll be a great year for South Africa and a great World Cup.
You were injured before, I think, the 2003 World Cup, and also in the 2007. You said you were injured at the right time this time. Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, I think whereas in those World Cups I sort of got injured during the campaign, whereas now I got injured way in advance of the competition, so I still stand a chance to compete in it. But again, only time will tell. I need to get back onto the field, and I need to play well enough and good enough to be worthy of a call up to the national side. So it is quite exciting, and it gives you something to work towards.
But I think that shows the resilience of a South African player and the hunger of a South African player, just to represent your country.
Yeah, I'm very proud to be South African. I think we've got an unbelievable country, I think part of the thing that drives me to get back onto the field is the love for the Springboks, of wearing the jersey and to represent my country, and that certainly gives me a lot of energy.
Obviously, the team will still be announced in a couple of months' time, but Victor Matfield will most likely be playing in the World Cup. Is Victor old, or just does he bring that extra dimension to the team? Do we have maybe a lock problem that we need to look at before we go into the Rugby Championship?
No, Victor's not old, he's experienced. So he's been around the block. Any guy that's been a man of the match in the World Cup final, has got something special about him. He knows how to perform in the big matches. Unbelievable leader and a fantastic guy. So, he will form part of that team, and I think the team needs him as well.
When you were speaking on the podium earlier, you spoke about some of the players that you're playing with that weren't even born in 1995 yet. But we have quite a good pipeline system, a lot of talent coming through, and just exciting youngsters that can really add that extra dimension to that World Cup squad.
Yeah, that excites me. The youngsters coming through, and they certainly keep us, older guys, young as well. So there's so much talent in South Africa, and year after year we just develop new guys coming through. So I'm very positive that balance between youth and experience will be good.
We're a very tough nation. We used to being big physical players. Do you think that we maybe haven't evolved as a rugby playing nation in terms of tactically? I mean, since seeing that we didn't make it or have teams in the Super Rugby semi-final.
Yeah, look, I think we should always play towards our strengths, but we need to constantly look to evolve, and I think we're getting there from a Springbok point of view. In Heineke's first year as coach, we couldn't really change much because we didn't get a lot of time to preparation-wise before the first test. In 2003, we played a lot more with ball in hand, scored a lot of beautiful tries, and last year the same, even though there was a bit of disruptions with selection and all of that. But going into this World Cup, I'm very confident that we'll have a game plan that's suited to any conditions and against any team, whether it be ball or hand or playing more territory. I think we're good enough to do both.
Talking about those playing conditions, England not always the easiest with the weather, but I mean, we're used to winning in the Northern Hemisphere.
Yeah, I think it suits us a little bit more. Big forwards, maybe a little bit slower, but like I said, any conditions I think we'll be happy on, and it's just about performing on the day. Seven good games in a row, and then the country will be happy.
Absolutely. Just two more questions. What is your take on the somewhat of a player exodus? So a lot of players going overseas to play. Do we no longer appreciate our players, local players in South Africa, and will that maybe affect the Springboks in a couple of years in terms of not playing, say, a South African style of rugby because they're used to playing overseas?
Yeah, look, it's unfortunately it's professional sport. As players, we need to look after our families, our careers, and financially make sure that we get the most out of it. From an SA Rugby point of view, they're doing their utmost to keep their players in South Africa, and hopefully we can just keep the competitions in South Africa strong, as well as the Springboks. So how they're going to do that, I don't know. But if I can assist in any way going into the future, then I definitely will. Obviously, I'm getting to the end of my career, and I think it's important that we get the next generation of guys coming through also looked after.
Say that you are going into the end of your career, and that's very, very sad for us indeed. But tell us a bit about this tribute series that you are hosting, and what is it all about? It's such an honour, to be able to celebrate somebody that has done so much for South African sport.
Yeah, I think it's more. I don't think it's about celebrating my career. It's more about thanking people for being me, putting me in a position to have a career like I had. The medical staff, the supporters, the coaches that I've had, players that I've played with, my family, my friends, everyone, just to say thanks for what you did, and just having 3 events to have some fun, bit of laughter, bit of banter, and just good times. So we've got the one gala dinner at Sandton Convention Centre, and then the 2 golf days, and hopefully through that we can raise some money for charity as well, with the Citadel Philanthropy Trust and the Laureate Sports for Good Foundation, and also Let's Play. So all in a good cause, and quite excited about that, just to have some laughs.
What would it mean for you to captain a team that will win this World Cup?
It'll be more than I ever dreamt of, and you know, it'll exceed all my expectations I ever had. To play for South Africa is a great honour. To captain South Africa, never thought that would happen, but great honour, great privilege, and to do it at a World Cup, it'll be pretty special.
Jean, thank you very much for speaking to us.